Hey, it's Sam, and I'm talking about Mercury in Virgo. When Mercury's in Virgo, it's of course in its own sign, because Mercury is the ruler of Virgo. So we wind up, when we have that placement either in the birth chart or in the sky, winds up being a situation where there's a lot of intelligence and scrutiny. If it's in someone's natal chart, then they'll naturally have a lot of discrimination. They'll be very curious. They'll want to see and be able to see the details clearly. They'll be able to filter through things, putting them in the right category, being able to recognize their own mistakes in thinking. Because Mercury is the intellect. It's how we use our intelligence and our discrimination. And so what that means is that we have to be able to filter through a lot of information, and when we're able to do that, then we can organize it correctly and put things in the right place. This faculty comes from Mercury. So when it's in Virgo, the person will be very ordered. There'll be a lot of precision and skill that develops as a result, because we develop skill in something when we're able to break something down to that fundamental level, to that sort of rudimentary level, and build it up from the beginning. So this is what allows us to do things like writing and art. For all of those kinds of creative endeavors, Mercury is very important. We often talk about Venus as being creative. Venus gives us a desire to make something beautiful. So Venus can give a pleasant aesthetic to something, or make someone want to find beauty or find something to appreciate. But Mercury actually makes us a very good artist, where we have good craftsmanship. Like, for instance, craftsmanship and skill with detail and precision is what makes an artist a craftsman, right? So someone who appreciates art and wants to create art might not have the skill to do it. So this is why often when you get Mercury very well dignified, like in its own sign or in a prominent place, it brings a lot of precision with details. And of course that's what takes someone who just appreciates beauty and appreciates art to the next level of being able to actually create it. Because if we can't break something down to its component qualities, down to its component details, then we can't replicate it ourselves. If we can't follow along with it, like for instance, playing a musical instrument, for example. When someone can play a musical instrument, they have the skill to actually do it, like to move their fingers on a guitar neck. It's a lot of very precise movements. And usually when people can play an instrument well, they can also, for instance, watch someone else play the instrument and then sort of mimic it. And again, mimicking things, that's also a very good Mercury trait. When someone has powerful Mercury, they're able to mimic things because they identify the details and then they can replicate them. And so when you get Mercury in Virgo, again, this is very well developed, because Mercury is in its own sign there, and it's in a sign of flexibility because it's a dual sign. It's an earth sign, so all that flexibility and duality becomes practical and grounded into an application rather than just a concept. Because it's Virgo, it's mutable earth. And then things slow down and get more organized, because Mercury can be very fast, but it slows down and organizes things in a very practical way. So when we have this in the sky, for example, as a transit, then that particular 3-4 weeks to a month or whatever, we wind up bringing a lot of discrimination and scrutiny into things at that time. And this will make us focus on those important details. And one of the other very prominent qualities of Virgo is that it's what's called Tamasic. The guna is Tamasic, which means that we destroy the, we're willing to destroy the passion and the excitement in order to do something very practical and focus on something that's important. Tamas, the Tamasic guna, is about form, but it's also about sort of destroying what's weak. So this is why when Mercury is in Virgo, we're really focused on at least being willing to destroy what's weak, even in our own thinking. Because that's actually what Mercury does. That's what our discrimination is about. It's sort of opposite Jupiter, where we just believe things. Mercury actually comes in and says, okay, you might believe this, but how does it work? How do you explain it? But you can't just believe something if it doesn't make sense. Then the thing you believe isn't going to even benefit you because it doesn't make sense to you. So we're willing to actually destroy our beliefs with Mercury, because Mercury is opposite Jupiter, and particularly you can see this place of Mercury in Virgo where it's exalted. It's actually where we destroy ideas that aren't correct. So again, you can tell a lot about the exaltation sign of a planet. And again, Mercury is exalted in Virgo. It's not just in its own sign, but it's exalted there. And it shows that in many ways the highest functioning of Mercury is to destroy what we thought previously. Because it's exalted in Virgo, which is destructive. So a lot to ponder. You'll often see when Mercury goes through Virgo, when any planets go through Virgo, actually, when Jupiter is in Virgo, we tend to have our beliefs kind of shattered a little bit, but we might not get a lot of wisdom and insight from it. We might just be looking for an answer and looking for things to be precise when Jupiter's in Virgo, but when Mercury is also there, or when Mercury is there, we not only destroy the belief, but we actually then see and focus and properly discriminate based on the facts, not based on what we want to believe. Like, we might want to believe in God and just believe in some religion, but if it doesn't measure up to scrutiny, then it's just a blind belief. This is why, Mercury really focuses us on the truth of things and whether or not they make sense. So all these things can be very important when someone has Mercury in the natal chart, when someone has Mercury in Virgo in the natal chart, or when Mercury goes through Virgo in the sky as well.